Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be sighting in the model 1917. This one is a Remington and it was made around August of 1918. So a couple admin notes, I will put timestamps down here to the different parts of the video, but up front, this is not a review on this rifle. This rifle, with the history it has and as old as it is, deserves its own in-depth review, which I will do after deer season. If you've been following the channel, you know I'll be taking this out during deer season. So lugging this through the field, taking game with it, shooting it some more, I'm gonna learn the nuances of this rifle, and so I'll be able to give a better review. Today is just simply sighting it in. So another thing we need to talk about is the sighting in process. I am sighting this rifle in for me for deer season. So for you, it may look a lot different and you may have your own way of doing it, but this is what works for me. And I figured I'd bring you guys along. So my process is pretty simple. The average distance I take whitetail deer at is generally about 75 yards. Sometimes closer, I've shot them up to 200, but by and large, it's around 75 yards. So I want to see how this groups and where it groups at 75, and then adjust it to as close as I can to hit at that distance. Now there's a few limitations with this rifle. First off, it does have wonderful sights, and they are graduated. It starts at 200 and goes on up to 1600. But here's the deal. 200 is the minimum setting. Now it will click one below that, so that's what I'm gonna do for 75 yards, but it may not group point of aim to point of impact unless I was to do something with the front sight, which I am not willing to do. This rifle is over 100 years old. It's all original. It's in beautiful condition. So I may not get it exactly where I want it, but I will know my holdover. So that's what I'm gonna do. 75 yards, get at least the windage right, and then see where I need to hold. I'll write that down in my field notes. I'll then go to 100, 125, somewhere in there, shoot, see where my holdover is, and then go to 200. And as long as I can whack a piece of steel at 200 yards, I'm pretty happy. The odds of me having to shoot a deer that far are very slim. So as long as I can put a well-placed center mass shot on a steel silhouette, I'm pretty happy with that for deer season. Again, iron-sighted rifle, my capabilities about 200 for ethically taking game. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. So for those who are more tactically minded or military minded, when you're sighting a rifle for deer season, it's not exactly the same as you would for like a combat or military type scenario. In that scenario, you're just trying to get hits on target. Now obviously a lethal hit is preferable depending on the doctrine you choose to follow, but getting a hit on target is important because you're taking somebody out of the fight. With deer hunting, it doesn't work like that. Deer hunting, you want to ethically take game on the first shot as humanely as possible, so the precision piece is a little bit more important, and with that, that goes back to the distances I shoot deer at. With iron sights, I'm just not comfortable ethically taking game past 200. So that's my reasons why, and I know a lot of you, especially that live out west, are probably like, well, I can't even get 300 yards from a deer. I understand, and you probably use a scope too. So understand those limitations. Yes, this rifle is perfectly capable of probably hitting a man-sized target out to 500 or 600, but that's not what we're doing. We're not just trying to get a shot on target, we're trying to ethically take game. So that's kind of the parameters that I'm working in. It may not be what you do, it may not be what you agree with, but it's what works for me, and I'm generally fairly successful most deer seasons. So with that, let's go to the range. What happens? 3 shots, military surplus ammo. I'm shooting my cheaper ammo first just to get me close, and then I'll confirm 0 with the actual hunting ammo. The target is almost off the edge of screen on the left side of the screen for you. So here we go. So I'll walk down and we'll take a look. Okay, so here we are on the target, and looks like I missed one. And it's probably the first shot. I bet you I pulled it. with anticipation. But the other two are pretty close to where I want them. I really didn't shoot enough to get a good data group. Other than that, I just know that I'm close. So I'm going to go back and do a 4-shot group just to put more data points on there for me. I would shoot 5-shot groups all day long, guys, but ammo's expensive, especially for 30-06. I will confirm 0 with a 5-shot group with hunting ammo, though. Okay, so here we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new holes on the box. Now, they are to the right mostly, but what I want to do is turn this box sideways, shoot again just to make sure, because we are reaching the capability of the ammunition. This military surplus ammo, in my experience, has mostly been about 4 MOA out of my other 30-06 guns. So before I start drifting that sight, I just want to confirm, and we'll check the next group. Bolt hold open feature caught me that time. Okay, so I have 3 new holes on paper. Here, here, and here. I marked the other ones. So I'm fairly happy with the elevation, but I do need to drift the front sight since I'm quite a bit right. So at this point, I switched over to the 150 grain Winchester Extreme Point, and let's see where we're at. We should be pretty close if this performs anything like the 150 grain surplus ammo I was shooting. I'll tell you right now, it's hotter. Yeah, it's warm. Let's see how we did. Okay, so I have flipped the box, but basically we're still a little to the right. We've got 1 here and 1 there. So I'll adjust the sight and throw some more shots up. You guys will see the final group soon. Final group at 75 yards with hunting ammo, and I've got 1, 2, 3, and a flyer that I pulled 4. Now, what you'll notice is it's still a little bit right of target. I'll make a slight adjustment to correct that, and then you'll notice it's a little bit low. On average, about 2.5 inches low. And that's perfectly okay. The lowest setting that this rifle has is 100 yards. So I'll shoot at 100, and my suspicion is it'll be a little bit higher. All I have to do is just annotate in my notebook that I'm shooting a little low at 75 yards to remember that that's how I need to hold. From there, I'll go out to 200 yards, and as long as I can hit center of mass on the steel target, I'm perfectly happy with that. All right, 100 yards. Try to catch it. Okay, I'm back from the range, and I learned some things about this rifle. So, first off, I'm glad that I brought extra ammunition with me, because there, kind of in the beginning, I drifted the front sight the wrong direction, which cost me some ammo. But a quick Google search and tapping the front sight the other way corrected my issue. I got my windage right where it needs to be. Also, with this sight all the way bottomed out, it shoots a little bit low at 75 yards, and I saved you guys the footage, but at 100, it groups the same exact spot. So 25-yard difference. I wasn't expecting much, but no difference. So with that, I just need to mark that down in my field notes, and I will now forever have that holdover. So now I know 75, 100 yards, it's going to shoot about 2.5 inches low. No big deal. I went out to 200, put it on the 200-yard setting, and it's shooting a little bit high. Luckily, there is a click between fully bottomed out and 200, and that put me dead on where I needed to be. So this rifle is zeroed how I want it. I know my holdovers, and I feel super confident that I can ethically take a deer this year with this rifle. A few things that I noticed when shooting this is that I really appreciate the craftsmanship that went into this rifle. The sights are amazing, both the aperture and then just the detail. And I don't know if this will come out on camera, but there's even some serrations up here to reduce glare. The trigger is amazing. It's serrated. The safety is very easy to use and positive. The semi-pistol grip stock is amazing. This rifle is awesome. My one and only gripe with it is the weight, but the positive that comes from that is that the recoil is very manageable. Compared to like an M1 Garand, if you've shot that, this is actually, in my opinion, more pleasant to shoot. It's just soft shooting. Now, it's a different type of recoil than the Garand, but between the two, I prefer this. Out of all the US 30-06 rifles, this is my favorite. I've had the 1903, I've had the 1903A3, and I've had the Garand. This one has my favorite sight picture. This one has a very smooth, quick to use action. It's great. Again, only complaint is the weight. So if you see one of these in your local shop, even if it's sporterized, if you're gonna hunt with it, I'd pick it up. I mean, these are awesome. Another thing that I've come to realize is that with two types of ammo, I was shooting between 4 and 5 MOA, and I don't think that's just the limitation of the ammo. I just think that's this rifle. This rifle is probably a 4 MOA rifle. Now, if I tried different hunting ammos, I'm sure that I could find one that groups a little bit better, but inside of 200 yards, I'm fine with that. 30-06, especially those hunting loads that I'm using, are gonna do a number on a deer if I shoot it. You know, double long shot, heart shot, something like that. They're not going anywhere. 30-06 is overkill for whitetail, in my opinion. So I'm very confident that I'll ethically take a deer this year. So with that, I'll take you guys with me, assuming my camera comes in by then, because normally I'm using my phone. But if it does, I'll take you guys with me. And the only caveat is I will not take this out in inclement weather. This rifle is pristine. I don't know that it has ever been issued. I mean, it is beautiful, not hardly a scratch on it, and it's collectible because of that. I'm not gonna go take this out in rainy, muddy weather and risk having rust build somewhere. I'm gonna take this on the fair weather days, and hopefully I get a big buck with it. If it's on one of those inclement days and I get it with my other rifle, then I'll take a doe with it. But either way, we will get a deer this season with this rifle. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. And as always, stay free.